Hi guys, welcome into Rover Sports. I have been meaning to make this video for pretty much a day, and I know I've been getting some blowback on Kyler Murray, the fact that he's 5'9" as a quarterback. I look at the intangibles of Kyler Murray, and I absolutely love what the guy can do on a field. I love his arm strength. I love the touch that he displays throwing the ball. Nobody knows exactly how healthy a guy's going to be over a 10 to 15-year span. And taking Kyler Murray is definitely more of a risk than taking Dwayne Haskins at the quarterback position. I totally understand that viewpoint. So I look at the quarterback situation for the New York Giants, and yes, there are other holes to fill on the defensive side of the football, especially with Olivier Vernon, especially with this Giants team. And I look at where the Giants are at, and we are going to be starting out guys in the let me tell you about our offensive line for a moment, okay? So our offensive line, we don't have a right tackle, and that's definitely an issue, and we're probably going to have to address that within the first couple of rounds. Defensively, playing our 4-3 defense, we do have Kerry Wynn, who's a decent player, Connor Barwin, but we are nowhere near we're nowhere near where we need to be defensively. Olivier Vernon rushing the passer. I guess we have Lorenzo Carter as well. But we could use a Devin White. We could use a great linebacker. We are starting Kareem Martin, who is decent. I like B.J. Goodson. I like Ogletree. I think that our linebackers are okay. Defensively, we don't have a safety that is really that great. We have Curtis Riley, who is a guy that is from Tennessee. He came in and did well for us. We also have Landon Collins, and I'm not sure about Landon and the potential that he's going to be around next year. I really like the kid Deontay Thompson from Alabama. I've stayed firm on that. He had a rough national championship where he was caught out of position a lot, but he's a very slim kid, but he is a center fielder, and he will continue to grow. His competitive nature is phenomenal, and he did have a really good season outside of the Clemson game. So I really do like Thompson. I believe you can get him in the second round. There are some good safeties that are emerging that we're going to find out about in the draft process. So looking at the quarterback situation, I'm not in love with Jonah Williams. I need to look more on Jonah Williams. However, if you do select Jonah Williams, you then have Nate Solder. And if you select Williams, Williams better be able to play left tackle his whole career. Because if you're using the 6th overall pick on Jonah Williams, he better be able to play left tackle throughout his career when Nate Solder decides to hang it up. Center-wise, I would like to maybe look at a center. And then maybe Roger Saffold from the Rams is a good guy in free agency to attack, except I don't know if Roger Saffold will be bouncing or not in free agency. Let's get back to the quarterback situation. Now, everybody wants to hear about the quarterback. I think our roster is not terrible. I think that Dwayne Haskins is the safest choice at quarterback. I really do like Kyler Murray. I think Kyler Murray's a special player. I think that the way that he plays the game, he knows how to slide. Playing baseball, he definitely does. And Kyler Murray is a guy that I believe will protect himself. Kyler Murray will also put on a little bit of weight, but Kyler Murray with the quarterback rules and how you can't really rush a quarterback or how you can't really hit a quarterback, Kyler Murray should be able to play and be okay. Kyler Murray's not going to run like Lamar Jackson's going to run. And the fact is, when you're a smaller quarterback as well, when you're a big quarterback, like when you're 6'6", sometimes actually knee injuries and those types of things are even more of a risk when you are a bigger quarterback than when you are a smaller quarterback. Because, like an 8-year-old going skiing, can survive injuries more than a burly, tall person going skiing, for example. Because when you're smaller, it's less risk of your knee contorting in a terrible fashion. That's why you see a lot of basketball players. That's why you see a lot of 7-footers have injuries a lot. So a lot of people are worried about Kyler Murray not being okay physically. But at the quarterback position, you're not going to take that many hits. You're going to take some hits, but, that argument of Kyler Murray getting injured, you can't really dispute the argument because you don't know what the future is going to hold. And RG3, when he played the position, he had that game where Mike Shanahan kept him in a little bit longer. And RG3 was also a quarterback that didn't know how to slide and that didn't really take care of himself, and he was a running quarterback. I think Kyler Murray will run when he needs to, but I also think Kyler Murray knows how to get down and knows how to protect himself. And it's not like Kyler Murray playing collegiate football. It's not like when Kyler Murray, played this year and he played Texas and he played Alabama. It's not like Kyler Murray was not facing guys that are just as big as the NFL is going to provide. I mean, Big 12 football, Oklahoma, you're still going up against defenders. You're still going up against guys that are the NFL size. I like Kyler Murray's game a hell of a lot. He throws with touch. He's a great thrower. People think that he's a runner. He is a thrower of the ball. He's a surgeon, and he throws with great touch, and he can manipulate safeties, and he's incredibly smart and incredibly competitive. You won't find a more competitive person playing the position of quarterback. When I dissect quarterbacks, first off, I love dissecting quarterbacks. I don't think that there's anything more fun than dissecting the quarterback position because it's the most challenging position to dissect in all of sports. And there oftentimes are very talented players that play the quarterback position that never are able to amount to anything at the quarterback position. Jake Locker was a very talented player. Jimmy Clausen was talented. Jamarcus Russell was a guy that, people thought was incredibly talented. Blake Bortles was a guy that was drafted in the top 10 that was perfectly accepted as a player that was drafted at the number 3 spot overall. The quarterback is far from a science of predicting if guys are going to be good. Paxton Lynch. But what I've found with certain guys that are drafted at the quarterback position that don't work out, it's oftentimes their mental makeup that gets in the way. I believe that Paxton Lynch is not a great preparer of the game of football. I believe Johnny Manziel was similar. Jamarcus Russell would eat, and he had Lane Kiffin, a tumultuous situation, and he would not take the game seriously. And that was a hindrance. So when you evaluate the quarterback position, you have to evaluate whether a guy is going to be equipped mentally to handle all the challenges of playing the position and leading the position. When I look at Josh Rosen and I look at Kyler Murray, we have one guy in Kyler Murray who has won at every single stop he's been at. And then we have another guy in Josh Rosen that the Giants are considering possibly looking into trades for. And Josh Rosen was a .500 quarterback at college. He is not a great leader. half the teammates he plays for hates Josh Rosen, and Josh Rosen is very polarizing on social media. When we look at Josh Rosen and Dwayne Haskins, I would take Dwayne Haskins 1,000,000 times out of 1,000,000 if I was offered the two. Josh Rosen is a quarterback that is extremely opinionated and polarizing in just about everything that the guy does, okay? His personality is a lot like Aaron Rodgers. He's a love it or leave it type of quarterback. You know, even at college, he would schedule interviews. He would crap on the NCAA about, athletes getting paid. And I know that that's a popular opinion amongst millennials and amongst collegiate athletes. But nevertheless, it's a very polarizing opinion. You know, Josh Rosen, when he played at UCLA, if the coach does not challenge Rosen, Rosen will get angry. He is not a guy that is going to elevate a coach. He needs a coach to elevate him, sort of personality. Josh Rosen, we all love Dwayne Haskins, or I love Haskins because he is a Giants fan. He knows the fabric of being a Giant. Josh Rosen is a fan of the team that I hate the most and that Giants fans hate the most, the Philadelphia Eagles. He's an Eagle fan. So Josh Rosen, his personality, the outspoken nature of the kid, I don't want him in New York. I think that it's a bizarro situation. He doesn't stay healthy. People say Kyler Murray's injury prone or is going to get injured. Josh Rosen wasn't very healthy at his time at UCLA. Josh Rosen throws a pretty football, and Josh Rosen in the right system could do well in the smaller market. But Josh Rosen coming to New York and being the centerpiece of the Giants, I'm not down with it at all. I don't know if he has the leadership qualities that I look for in the position at quarterback. Drew Lock is a very mild-mannered person, and I don't even like Drew Lock possibly leading the New York Giants. But I take Drew Lock over Josh Rosen in the scouting process. And there's a reason why Cliff Kingsbury wants Josh Rosen possibly gone. There is a reason why a guy that scouted Mahomes, a guy that scouted Webb, a guy that had Baker Mayfield on his staff, there's a reason why he wants to move on from Josh Rosen already. And it's because he views Kyler Murray in that light. And Josh Rosen, is he really going to love working with Josh Rosen? Now, will the Cardinals have the guts to ever make that type of decision that is like a Madden-like decision? I think it's all smoke and mirrors. And by the way, when Cliff Kingsbury says that he would take Kyler Murray #1 overall and he's at Texas Tech and he's playing Oklahoma that week, he's not going to say, oh, well, I don't think Kyler Murray's going to translate to the NFL. You know, I think Kyler Murray's a 4th-round talent. I think Kyler Murray should stay with baseball. He's not going to say that when he's playing Oklahoma. He's going to bend over backwards not to give bulletin board material when he's the coach of Texas Tech and Oklahoma's coming into Jones AT&T Stadium. So the fact that we're taking that interview verbatim when nobody could have predicted that he would have been an Arizona Cardinal coach, and it's not like everything he said in that interview is 100% true. It doesn't mean it's 100% false either. That's why it's kind of a story. That's why it's kind of fluctuating out like that. But the fact is, the way I look at the hierarchy of the situation, the way I look at the New York Giants, the way I look at Eli Manning, I said I wanted Eli to stay, but I've come to grips with the fact that the Giants are going to move on from Eli Manning. Now let's look into Dwayne Haskins. You know, now people are very attached to Dwayne Haskins because of his social media, because of the fact he's from Jersey, because of the fact that he has posted and made those types of claims that he loves to be a Giant. And I think that is wonderful. I think that is a nice big deal, okay? That's why I don't want to bring in the Eagles guy, Josh Rosen. That's the same concerns I had about Kyle Lauletta, was that Kyle Lauletta likes the Eagles and hated the Giants his whole life, okay? So I do like that. I really do. As a Giants fan, I think it's important because the Giants' quarterbacking job is not for everybody. It's one of the most difficult positions in all of sports, and you have to embrace everything that comes with the challenge, and you have to embrace our culture and our fan base because we have a very passionate fan base. Dwayne Haskins is a great arm talent, 6'5", very durable, very accurate, a guy that can make every single throw, and a guy that's smart. Now, I know people are going to say J.T. Barrett beat him out, but Mitchell Trubisky had a better NFL skill set than the Williams kid at North Carolina, and J.T. Barrett is also a tremendous collegiate football player, and Urban Meyer valued the intangibles of Barrett, and Barrett is a legend at Ohio State, very respected, and he was a very effective and tremendous leader and a great quarterback at the collegiate level for Ohio State. It's not an indictment on Dwayne Haskins that J.T. Barrett was the starting quarterback. Dwayne Haskins was a fantastic quarterback in the day system. Dwayne Haskins, like Kyler Murray, did not face great competition. Dwayne Haskins and the Ohio State also, like Oklahoma, has not produced incredible pros at the quarterback position. Tim Tebow was not a great thrower of the ball for the quarterback position. Chris Leak did not work out at the quarterback position. Braxton Miller and Terrell Pryor, well, Pryor was not an Urban Meyer guy. Braxton Miller was with Urban Meyer. Cardale Jones had a big arm, but Cardale Jones wasn't able to process fast enough, and Cardale Jones wasn't elusive enough in the pocket. I think Haskins is a little more elusive. I think Haskins can make quicker decisions, but I really do worry about his ability to escape. I do worry about his ability to process. It is a very simple system that Ryan Day has, that Urban Meyer has. So the fact is, it's still very possible that the Giants stick with Eli Manning and go with a quarterback in 2020. The good news about the quarterbacks this year, unlike Sam Darnold, I like a lot of the quarterbacks that are out there this year. Number one for me, I like Kyler Murray. And I'm not going to hide the opinions of Kyler Murray. Dwayne Haskins is a quarterback that I can see working. I would need to do more research. He's going to need to continue to impress me in the combine. It is 1 year of tape. He hasn't been faced with much adversity, and mostly that's because of the success that he's had. He has the arm strength to play at this level. I'm worried about his footwork. I'm worried about him under center. He's never been under center before. I know that Murray is more athletic. I would be ecstatic about Kyler Murray. That's just my own personal opinions. Drew Lock or Dwayne Haskins, I waver back and forth on those guys all the time. But if the Giants selected Haskins, I would be okay with that. Lock, I'd be fine. If they waited on a quarterback, selected White or Josh Allen or even a lineman, I'm cool. So most of the scenarios I'm cool with. The Josh Rosen trade, I think, will be a nightmare. I would hate that, to be honest with y'all. I would hate it. I would always root for the Giants, but the fact that they kick off Davis Webb, the fact that they bring in the Rosen one, and give away their draft pick in the process, I don't think Josh Rosen hates losing. And that's one of Dave Gettleman's cardinal rules. And he would be a hypocrite if he ever did that. The good news is, I think there's a lot of good options. I think Locke and Haskins can both be really amazing quarterbacks. I think Kyler Murray can be sensational. I think Eli Manning and another year of an improved team could possibly get to 9 or 10 wins. And I think the quarterbacks coming out next year, such as Herbert, Tagovailoa, Hunter Johnson, Tanner Morgan, or James Morgan from the University of Florida International. Hunter Johnson, I think, could be really, really good. And I think Hunter Johnson has an NFL skill set at Northwestern. And it's not an indictment that Trevor Lawrence beat him out at Clemson. Jacob Eason, I worry about how much he loves football. He has a lot of interest outside of the game, which is fine. I don't love Eason. I don't love Shea Patterson either. I know guys that absolutely love Shea. Shea is a great competitor, but arm strength is not something I love when I look at Shea Patterson. Dwayne Haskins blows him off the map in terms of arm talent. Shea Patterson is more like a Case Keenum at the quarterback position. Fast kid, a little bit athletic. I look at Will Grier, and Will Grier will be an average NFL quarterback that'll start. He'll be like a Kirk Cousins. So if you want to get Grier in the third round and go load up on defense, it's an interesting route. But I don't know if Will Grier's an incredible competitor either. Daniel Jones is a very good competitor, but he's a very big project. He's very inconsistent in his performance, very quirky mechanics-wise in terms of his footwork. His throwing motion is loopy and a little strange. Not as big of an arm as people want to make out. Drew Lock is a lot more talented. So the way I look at it, I don't think we're going to go wrong unless we decide to make some insane move and get Josh Rosen. I think it's a lot more insane to go reach across the aisle and get Josh Rosen and bring him all the baggage personality-wise that the kid has and bring him to New York. That's the last. If the Giants do that and Dave Gettleman does that, I'm always going to root for the Giants to win football games. But at that point, the Giants are on their own with their decisions. They've completely abandoned what I would have done. It would be the complete 100% other direction that I would have gone at. And I don't think we would yield consistent performances whatsoever. And I would just sit back and watch as I would do. But I would be very disappointed because that is not the direction that I would have liked. And it would cause huge reason for concerns with the franchise that I do love. And it would set us back a long time if we were to make that outrageous decision. I know Jet Central and other people would love Rosen. And Rosen might be a good NFL quarterback. I just look at the personality of the quarterback, the intangibles, and I don't like it one bit. I've never been a Rosen guy. I think that his skill set could work in certain cities and certain coordinators. So I was happy when we passed on the quarterbacks last year. You guys know what I think of Darnold, and Josh Allen has surpassed my expectations. I've said that Josh Allen could be a good quarterback, and he's been phenomenal. He would have been a guy that would have actually fit in very well. I think Josh Allen's actually going to be fantastic at the NFL level. I think he's going to be very good. Baker, Mayfield, and Josh Allen, I think, are the best quarterbacks last year. And those were guys I had on my top 3, top 2. And those are guys that I watched at the Senior Bowl and were phenomenal. Josh Allen will make throws at the Senior Bowl that were incredible. Drew Lock is going to do that, I'm sure. I can't wait to see him there. But Josh Rosen, no. Dwayne Haskins is definitely a guy that I will entertain and will definitely give him an incredible amount of patience in my fandom. And I would be excited about what Dwayne could do for our organization. Drew Lock, I know that the fan base would not like it one bit. I know the pulse of the Giants fans pretty well. They would view it as too risky. Drew Lock, in terms of getting along with Beckham, in terms of handling our media, would be okay, but I think he would get frustrated at times. I don't know if he's the guy that the Gettleman and that we are going to select. I would highly doubt that he's going to be the guy that we select, but Drew Lock has an incredible skill set, and I would be very excited about Drew Lock as well at that position. I don't think that we're that far off from really being able to compete. A lot of people make it seem like the Giants have unbelievable issues. I think that you can find a good pass rusher later in the draft, just like Lorenzo Carter. I believe you can find a right tackle that is a decent tackle in the third or fourth rounds of the draft. I believe our offensive line has made incredible strides, and we're going to address that position. I think a safety is paramount, actually. I really want our secondary to get a lot better. Sam Bill better be able to come in and play. We used a third rounder on him. If he comes in and really contributes, we could be a playoff team next year with Jack Rabbit. Our defense is getting a lot better. James Betcher is getting a lot better at being a defensive coordinator with our personnel. Saquon Barkley, knock on wood for good health, should be tremendous next year. Sterling Shepard has made great strides. Cody Latimer has been nothing short of spectacular to end the season. Evan Ingram has bounced back and has actually come out with some good performances. Rhett Ellison was a tremendous player for us this year and a guy that's going to help us next year. I think talent-wise, we are close to 8 or 9 wins of talent. And with this draft, I expect us to be an 8, 9, or 10-win team. I think Eli Manning will not be a disaster at the quarterback position. And if we elect to go with Haskins or Drew Lock, you've seen how good second-year quarterbacks do in the NFL. You've seen how competitive Baker Mayfield was with Cleveland. I think our roster, our coaching staff, is good enough to get to 9, 10, or 8 wins next year. I think 7-9 would be disappointing. I think 8-8 would be disappointing. I believe we will be competing for a wild card next year. Those are my expectations, are to compete for a playoff spot and to get in the playoffs. Those are my thoughts on the quarterback position. The Josh Rosen one is out of left field for me. I would not enjoy that at all. In fact, I would be sad and disappointed. Drew Lock would be worrisome for different reasons, especially convincing this fan base to agree with it. I think Drew Lock is a very talented player. He's experienced, and I think it will be a fun selection that I believe could potentially work. I believe that Dwayne Haskins could work, and if it were up to me, Kyler Murray would honestly be the first quarterback that I would select. I know that many people, that's not a popular sentiment because of his size, but I love Kyler Murray. And Kyler Murrays don't come around very often. I think Kyler Murray will light the league on fire. People I talk to that criticize Kyler Murray even say that, Kyler Murray, I want to allow the entertainer, Bad Dog, Cop Pizzle, to share their thoughts on this subject. I would love to have them on my show so that they could defend their positions on here. I don't want to even reveal what they have said, but I've talked to each one of them, and I want them to say on their channels what they think about Kyler Murray. I love Kyler Murray, and I think it would be great with him and Saquon Barkley. That's the number one guy. I think Haskins and Drew Lock. I think it's a great quarterback class, to be honest with y'all. I think Drew Lock is the types of throws he makes are incredible. And he's been a guy that I've been so high on from day one. I worry about him playing in big games. I worry about his personality meshing with our culture with the New York Giants. And it would take a lot of convincing on our fan base to be okay with Drew Lock. And I frankly don't think we're rolling with him. Dwayne Haskins is a quarterback that I like a lot more than the people that are Giants fans on here, like the YouTube community. I think the commenters love Haskins, and I like Haskins. And I'll go in with all 2 feet. And at this point, I'll be okay with Haskins at the quarterback position. So Josh Rosen's a no-go for me. All the other 3 guys are yeses. Staying with Eli Manning is a yes for me because 2020 has at least 3 or 4 guys that I'm also content with at the quarterback position. Hunter Johnson, James Morgan, Tua Tagovailoa, and Justin Herbert. So that's where I stand on the quarterbacks and everything surrounding that. Can't go wrong. If we trade with the Arizona Cardinals and bring Josh Rosen in, it'll be disgusting. It'll make me want to throw up. I'll be very disappointed. It'll be just like Davis Webb getting cut. It'll be whatever, man. I'll root for this Giants team. It would be tough to swallow, and I'll just watch and, whatever. They're on their own then at that point. So we'll root on our team. There's a lot of likable guys on our roster anyway. So the quarterback's just one position. It's an important position, though, I'll tell you that. But at least we have Saquon. At least we have guys that are true pros on our football team. I think Evan's a good pro. Sterling's a good pro. I think BJ and Dalvin are great guys, too. So I think Will Hernandez is great. I think Jamon's a wonderful guy. There's a lot of reasons to still root for our franchise. So it is what it is, though. You get older. You try to stick with your team. You try to stick with your Giants as much as you can, even if they drive you nuts as you get older. So, alrighty, guys. Thanks so much. Take care.